Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Indie Mogul. We are doing an official recap of 2020.
What a year.
Woohoo! What a horrible year.
Highs and lows, let's be honest.
You're right. Highs and lows, that's true.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
A lot of great things have happened. A lot of great gear. A lot of filmmaking things have changed.
We're going to talk about gear. We're going to talk about industry changes. And we're also going to talk about Indie Mogul and what are some of our favorite episodes that we've been doing. You ready to do this?
Let's go.
Starting off with gear. Hey, what's new? What do people need to know from this year of weird shooting?
When it comes to actual camera releases, this is one of the best years ever, actually. Sure. We've had some of the biggest tentpole cameras from Canon, from Sony, and other manufacturers, and it's been a wild ride as a gear reviewer. Sony released the incredible A7S III.
The long-awaited, the Destiny Child has arrived. Yeah,
we've been waiting for this camera for like 4 or 5 years now, and every year the anticipation grows stronger and stronger, and they delivered. This camera is a true workhorse, and now since the time of this recording, we did a video on it. We compared it to the Alexa, which was so fun. It is getting the job done and doing it really well. 4K 10-bit, 4K 60 internal, full frame. The low light is insane. Yeah. This camera is really kind of the perfect
hats
camera.
Off to Sony. Just so good looking. So great. Thank you, Sony. We're so glad you're here.
Yes.
Yep. Are there any other releases that you think this year that filmmakers need to pay attention to?
That's one of the first videos I did on this channel, and that's the red Komodo camera.
Yes, Komodo Red is in the content creator workflow now, which is insane to see. Kind of. I mean, it's a little expensive, but they're here. They're here.
Yeah, it's true. I have another couple of friends on YouTube that have decided to purchase the Komodo. People are loving it. The image quality is great. Global shutter, 4K RAW. It's a small, compact body. And for the first time, Red is using a lot of non-proprietary things with the camera. You can get third-party batteries. You can get third-party memory cards. It's not as integrated as other Red cameras, but that makes it dramatically cheaper and more approachable for indie filmmakers. Canon just released the C70 camera, which we just reviewed on this channel. And that camera, again, is a wonderful marriage of a hybrid stills camera and a video camera put together in that nice form factor. It doesn't actually take pictures at all. It's only a cinema camera, but it's got the built-in NDs, the XLR. It's affordable for the most part, and I think it'll be a real workhorse in the industry.
It's a cinema camera that's designed for a certain amount of speed and for a certain amount of budget.
And Sony has an answer to that as well. They have the FX6, which is a small little box that's basically an A7S in a more video-centric box. Panasonic released a camera like this as well this year, and it's just been a crazy wild ride for camera companies this year.
Are there any other releases that you've been seeing in other markets that are actually going to play that people should know about?
Absolutely, and that is the mobile phone space.
Oh no! I know there's a lot of people out there that are cringing, being like, "Oh no, I don't want the idea of a smartphone coming in," but this is a reality, and we're getting closer there every year.
I think so. I mean, the fact that we've got LiDAR on the phone now means that we could start seeing some real advanced autofocus capabilities. The 4K 10-bit on these new phones is actually incredible. The new iPhone 12 Pro Max, for example, has a bigger sensor. The image quality is better than ever. I don't think we should discount it as filmmakers. We shouldn't just be like, oh, that's for the kids, that's for TikTokers. That is true. But I feel like the future is this computational photography, this computational videography, and these mobile phones are getting images that you can't even get on a camera because it's using machine learning and all sorts of crazy things to make the image look better.
Like, nobody's saying all the future Marvel movies are going to get shot on an iPhone, right? Like, nobody's saying that. I think it's that there's a gradient here now that's grown.
It's coming. I think we're still pretty far out. There's some physics involved. You can never really match what a full frame sensor looks like on a phone because the sensor is the size of my pinky fingernail.
Obviously, Dave's joined the team. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to go over my 3 favorite videos that you did this year. A lot of really good videos. Obviously, you just joined recently, so there's not like a humongous video.
It's only been 4 months or something, 3 months.
Yeah, but in that time, if I had to go in terms of order for the videos that I loved the most, I would start with the drone comparison video that you did.
We just did that together. That was a ton of fun.
That was super fun. Minus losing my shirt for a little bit. I think it was super interesting and super exciting to see how the new mini drones actually compare and compete with the Inspire drones, really the industry standard drones, and seeing kind of a little bit of that technology being put into people's pockets. The second one I have to do is the Komodo one. I know it was the first video out the gate, but just to see Dave geeking out about a new release as soon as it came out,
Yeah.
and being able to bring it from kind of like a higher end perspective too.
Yeah.
Super cool to be able to see that video.
Or the red kimono, as people think I said.
As far as the third video I got to pick, I'd probably say A7S versus Alexa versus Sony Venice. I love this video because it's like classic Dave breaking through and going with a new camera that came out in this kind of prosumer consumer range, but competing it against the industry's best. And again, to be able to see you actually be able to put these cameras side by side. I know for a lot of people, that's like a resource that I think a lot of people have wanted to see for a while. So.
Totally. So for me, one of my favorites early on this year, I think, was the podcast episode.
Oh, dude, that video was so much fun to shoot.
And it seems to be crushing it, I've noticed in the analytics, because people are home now more than ever and they are deciding to start a podcast. Was that intentional or was that?
No, we didn't know. I had no idea that COVID was going to hit.
It was a really good practical video. And even if you're not doing a podcast, I found it helpful for just normal lighting. Yeah. And then next would be the product shot one that you did. The headphone one is the one that stands out to me. Yeah. I just found that so helpful. And I guess that's why you did a follow-up, right?
Yeah. No, we shot that because I think a lot of the time people see like BTS from commercial footage. People get caught up in the wrong details. They start looking at all the expensive production design stuff, which, to be fair, if you want to make your footage look better, just spend money on production design. But I think it was really fun to take someone like Justin, who's such a good shooter, shot so many amazing like intro product shots, and to be like, hey, here's nothing, here's a plastic table and some headphones I found on Amazon.
And then last for me is a more recent one, and it's the top lighting. In addition to just the content being so fascinating, I think a lot of people look at films and productions, they don't realize how much of it's top light, and I feel like people rarely talk about it. There's not a lot of content doing tutorials on that for budget filmmakers. So with the top-down lighting one, because I was just in the moment of COVID and just all that stuff, we really kind of experienced what's going on in the industry. And as a whole, Hollywood has been really suffering and been doing a lot of changes. What's going on in Hollywood in 2020 and obviously going into 2021?
Yeah, it's interesting because we talked to so many filmmakers, and even when you see these interviews and breakdowns, we have conversations with people before, after, and during about COVID and what's changing. Past couple months, I've just been so happy to see productions opening up a little bit. I know it's a controversial thing, but for all the people out there that feel like it's controversial, there's a lot of people whose like livelihoods depend on production running. All the rental houses that I've talked to have been saying that production's been opening up. They've had the busiest month that they've had. So good. On sets, they have like COVID protocols now. There's like a COVID person there every day. They test people nonstop. If you haven't heard, like, Batman was one of the movies that was shooting that had a COVID case that happened. That was a big deal. A lot of people have been trying to quarantine the entire set. Tyler Perry did this thing in Atlanta where he had at his own studio, he had everybody fly and get COVID tested, and they lived on this camp and made a movie together.
Wow. It's like Lord of the Rings when they all lived in New Zealand or whatever.
It is. Yeah, basically they did that, but they did that for COVID. And then on the independent content creator side, what a ride, guys. I mean, so we've been shooting videos this entire time at Indie Mogul too, and I think it's tricky. It's really hard. Before, at the beginning of the year, you can see the videos that we made. We're like going on set all the time. And
I miss travel.
Guests and like, like the beginning of Mogul too, we're traveling all the time and like visiting and saying hi to people. And like,
we would have gone to NAB. We would have gone to all these conferences.
We got invited to go visit like our friends in Toronto. We were going to like go see a bunch of cool filmmakers and creatives. And then, COVID hit. So I think for us, it's been learning how to make tutorials with really, really small crews. Yeah. I feel really blessed and lucky to know a little bit about what it looks like to create content in this day and age now. Yeah. You guys have it. We have it so much better if you're making stuff, online videos, than big crews right now. The second thing I got to say is no movies. There's no movies this year, which has been heartbreaking. Have you watched anything this year, New?
TV shows, lots of shows.
Just TV shows, right?
It was fun. Right when COVID happened, I feel like Netflix and a lot of those companies had things in the can that maybe they were waiting to release. Yeah. But it's like, everybody's locked down. Here you go. Here's a bunch of cool content. That being said, movies.
Mulan, Tenet. My heart goes out to so many filmmakers that like blood, sweat, and tears went into something, and like they're either not getting a release, or it's getting delayed, or they're getting not the release that they wanted it to be.
The Oscars will be an interesting year this year, won't it?
They got delayed.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah, they got delayed. They got delayed. I have a friend that works on PR for those guys, and they said they're like, normally this is like their Super Bowl. They're like, all right, like they're in full prep mode and the signs go out, but you might as well just put out a sign that's just like, F it. One of the biggest changes that we saw, if you haven't heard about this already in the filmmaking industry, is that Warner Brothers has now decided that their basic entire 2021 slate is also going to be released on HBO Max at the same time that it goes into theaters. That is crazy.
And by the way, they didn't tell the filmmakers this either. So like Christopher Nolan was like, nobody told me this, like, because AT&T actually owns Warner Brothers now.
Yeah.
So there's not this core of like filmmaking kind of heritage in the company anymore. So,
you know, when the COVID cases were dipping down, I drove like really far out of the city to go find a theater that I could watch Tenet. And I watched Tenet, and like, you know, I'm sorry, I it's my vice, right? You know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I watch movies. I need to watch movies, you know? So I'm like getting the itches here. And I watched Tenet, and I just remember the way that we know movies, like a traditional movie that gets watched in theaters that has a huge turnout in that way. That is done. So on one hand, my heart is breaking. On the other hand, you know, it is exciting. You know, like I think for anyone out there, like don't flame me for this, right? Like I'm not responsible for this, but like for people out there that are feeling like worried about that stuff, I think I try to remember like the joy that I had when I first had Netflix streaming online.
Wow, anything. I can watch anything I want.
The world is open, you know? And like I think now people have forgotten the joy of like knowing just how exciting it was to stream everything. Yeah. And now people are just scared of the change of what's happening. But
change is happening.
It has to happen. Yeah.
It's been happening. And I think that's one of the things we're seeing with COVID is it brought to light what was already kind of going on. Yeah. But then you got like when there's movies like Star Wars, you want to go opening night and experience it with people and like laugh. And I don't think theaters are dead forever. I just think that's maybe going to be a niche. It's like going to a Broadway show. Can movies like Wonder Woman, Avengers, can they make the hundreds of millions of dollars off of streaming? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a friend who works with Netflix. He's a drone operator and does some really high-end drone stuff. And I was just talking to him last night, and he said the last 6 months he's worked more and made more money than ever with Netflix. They're obviously making money. Guess what? The new year is upon us. 2020 is gone and 2021 has arrived, which means you need to go out and get some exercise chops in on you. You developed the COVID-20, you've put on some pounds, and you need to start grinding it out at the gym or at your house. You need to start eating better, eating some greens, eating some veggies, maybe a little bit of candy thrown in there every once in a while. But you know just as well as I that it's important to stay healthy, and all the footage that you just saw was brought to you by our sponsor today, Storyblocks.com. If you go to Storyblocks.com/IndieMogul, you can see how incredibly valuable this website is. I tell you all the time on this channel how useful Storyblocks is. We use it on this channel constantly to enhance our B-roll footage. There's thousands and thousands of clips in both HD and 4K, ProRes, MP4 formats. Everything you could ever imagine is available there on Storyblocks.com. In addition to that, you also have the ability to download different motion and After Effects templates that you can use to create incredible animations. So while you're optimizing your body and your overall health for 2021, why don't you also subscribe to Storyblocks by going to storyblocks.com/IndieMogul. We'd like to thank Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. Eat healthy, everyone.
Actually, what I want to do is I want to turn it to the audience real quick. There's a couple things going on for Indie Mogul. Number one, we've been talking a lot about doing a video with Panavision upcoming. We're going to be talking about lenses. As movies start to come out, I'm super excited to do a bunch of breakdowns too. Yep. We got some cool, awesome movies finally starting to make their way onto the streaming platforms. We've already reached out to a lot of those DPs and been talking to them too, so we're looking forward to doing breakdowns there.
We're looking at maybe doing some virtual set breakdowns because it's such a huge trend right now with The Mandalorian, a couple music videos from Taylor Swift, like all sorts of different things are happening.
I have never had more people reach out to me in the past ever time say, hey, we're a production company out of whatever, and we're building a virtual production stage, which means that when something happens on the big end, it trickles down bit by bit. And to see it starting to appear in smaller cities and different production companies,
it's very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Again, it comes back to the future of this technology with phones and motion tracking, and like it's just so exciting.
And then also for everyone that's been watching this for all of 2020, been a weird year.
Oh,
it's not gonna shook. It's weird year.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you to everyone that's been watching this channel and been kind of on this crazy roller coaster ride. At the same time, I think a lot of positive things have come out of this year. So if you're watching this, thanks for spending your time with us. Thanks for hanging out. We see your comments. We read your comments all the time.
I genuinely want to say thank you guys for welcoming me so warmly to the channel. It's only been a couple of months, but I feel like a part of the team already. great. And I really appreciate your kind comments.
And if you guys want to see more gear-related content, or really any related content, ask Dave what you want to see too, because I know he's got a lot more in stock. So.
We want to know what you guys enjoy, what you love. So comment down below with what style is your favorite. What are some of the things that you love Ted doing? What are some of the things you love that I've done? We just want to know. We want to kind of optimize our content for you guys going into 2021.
So leave those comments down below. And of course, happy holidays.
Yes.
Thanks
Happy
so much
New Year.
for watching. And let's say goodbye to 2020.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.